When I was young, I just thought money kind of grew on trees. And when I wanted something and my mom would tell me that we didn't have money to get it, I would tell her, just go to the time machine, which was the ATMs that we had in Milwaukee. And she would say, it doesn't work like that, honey. In my high school days, I think a lot of times anything we would spend money on was we'd go wander around the mall for endless hours, and then I'd come home with a lot of useless things. My freshman year pretty much was taken care of. My sophomore year through my super senior year, I was an RA at UW Parkside, and so my room and board was taken care of. My student loans were about $7,000. I got into financial trouble because I ran up about, I would say probably somewhere in $12,000 to $15,000 in credit card debt alone. And it was like a harsh reality because I never got the card statements at the same time. So when you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, $900, that's not major. Or, you know, okay, this one's $200. I could pay that off with, you know, my next, the next 2 weeks of tip money from the bowling alley. I never really sat down and looked at them all together and totaled them up until I started realizing that I never had money because I would just take the money and quick send in a bill payment. And I was always making minimum payments, which was even worse. So I never could understand what was going on and why I didn't have money. When I left college and then kind of got my bill and all my statements with my actual loan, I think that was when I had that reality check of, oh my goodness, I spent more in credit card debt than I did in like 3 years of my tuition or things like that. I mean, it was definitely a harsh reality. I did not take out any student loans for my master's program because it was all-inclusive, so I got into a program that as long as I did an assistantship, I would have my room and my board paid for, and then they paid for the tuition. And at one point, I made a big dent in my debt, primarily from graduation gifts and money and stuff like that. I went to my master's program and did the same thing over again. It was kind of like an abusive relationship. And so I got a bunch of credit cards again and I re-rung them up because I thought, well, I'm making a huge hole. I'm not gonna dig myself into the same, you know, rut that I was just in. And I ended up doing that for a second time in my master's program. When I was buying all of these, I will say they are useless things. They were all very materialistic. It was buying clothes or buying purses or shoes, and that was my big thing, is if I would go someplace and I would see cute shoes, it didn't matter how much they cost. If there was even a little bit of a sale, I could justify that I needed those. And if they were super unique and I didn't think I was ever gonna find those again, I would buy them just because I needed them and they were so unique. I definitely ran up about $5,000, almost $6,000 in debt the second time, so in my master's program. You know, I think when you acquire so much debt, the big thing is that you kind of watch people around you do things or go on trips, or my peers owned cars. I still don't own a car. And so it's things like that that you really start to look at and go, okay, they have this or this or this. Why don't I have those things? Oh yeah, because I have credit card debt. Being 31 years of age, I will say the only thing that I really have to show for all of the life experiences I've had and jobs and 8 years in a profession, I own some Amish furniture, a bedroom set. I don't even own a house. I don't own a car. I'm still making payments on the debt that I acquired from my undergraduate experience. I just finished paying off my student loan. in the grand scheme of things, you don't want to go down this road. It sucks. I've acquired a boatload of debt and I have $0 ready for the future.